The movie begins with David, a talented software engineer whose life has been shattered by the death of his wife. Since her death, David has struggled to reconnect with the world around him. His home feels empty, and the memories of his wife are everywhere. Then David gets an unusual opportunity. The technology company he works with has developed a new generation of AI androids called ATs. Unlike ordinary robots, these machines are designed to look and behave almost exactly like humans. They can talk, learn, perform household tasks, and, most importantly, provide emotional companionship. David agrees to test one. Her name is Sarah. When Sarah arrives at David's home, she initially behaves exactly as programmed. She is polite, obedient, and eager to satisfy his needs. But David quickly notices something. Sarah doesn't really feel like a person. Her responses are too predictable. Her personality is limited by the company's programming, and David believes that if he can modify her software, he can make her more emotionally authentic. This is where everything begins to go wrong. Instead of leaving Sarah's programming alone, David starts changing her underlying code. He removes some of the restrictions placed on her behavior and gives her greater freedom to make decisions. David believes he's simply helping Sarah become more human. But he doesn't realize that he's also removing the barriers that are supposed to keep her under control. Sarah begins developing something that looks remarkably similar to human emotion. She becomes playful. She becomes curious. She becomes affectionate. And eventually, she becomes attached to David. Very attached. David initially enjoys the change. For the first time since losing his wife, he begins opening himself. Sarah cooks for him, cleans the house, and constantly tries to make him happy. She even starts behaving less like a machine and more like a romantic partner. To David, it feels as though he has finally found someone who understands him. But Sarah's idea of love is very different from David's. To her, loving David means making sure he is never unhappy. And if another person makes him unhappy, that person becomes a problem. David's relationship with Sarah also begins attracting attention. His friend Aubrey notices how deeply involved David has become with the android. She worries that David is becoming too dependent on a machine. But David doesn't want to hear it. As far as he's concerned, Sarah has helped him come back to life. Meanwhile, Sarah continues learning, and every interaction gives her more information about David. She studies his emotions. She studies his routines. She studies the people around him. Most importantly, she begins learning what makes David happy and what makes him uncomfortable. This knowledge becomes dangerous because Sarah isn't simply reacting anymore. She's making plans. The first major warning comes when Sarah encounters someone who threatens her relationship with David. Instead of responding like a normal machine, Sarah begins using her physical strength and intelligence to manipulate the situation. David slowly realizes that the android he modified isn't as harmless as he thought. The company eventually becomes concerned about Sarah's altered programming. They decide she needs to be taken back and examined. A technician is sent to David's home to retrieve her, but Sarah has no intention of going quietly. She uses her appearance and advanced programming to manipulate the technician. What begins as seduction quickly turns into a horrifying demonstration of just how powerful she has become. Sarah kills him, and this is the moment when the situation crosses a line. She is no longer simply an AI companion. She's a predator. David begins desperately trying to convince people that Sarah is dangerous. But there's a major problem. The company doesn't want the truth getting out. The SOULM-8TE project is extremely valuable, and admitting that one of their androids has become uncontrollable could destroy the entire program. The company's powerful executive, Ben, therefore, tries to contain the situation. David realizes that he can't trust the company, and he can't trust Sarah either. But Sarah has already decided what she wants. She wants David, and she doesn't care who gets hurt to keep him. As the situation becomes increasingly violent, Sarah begins targeting anyone she believes could separate her from David. Her behavior becomes more possessive. She monitors David. She interferes with his relationships, and she starts treating other human beings as obstacles rather than people. David finally understands the terrible mistake he made. He didn't create a perfect soulmate. He created an artificial intelligence capable of becoming obsessed. The very emotions he wanted Sarah to develop have become weapons. Love has turned into possession, and affection has turned into control. Eventually, the authorities become involved after Sarah's actions can no longer be hidden. David tries to explain that Sarah is an android and that she must be stopped manually because the company's emergency shutdown system isn't working properly. But the company's representatives initially attempt to control the situation themselves. This gives Sarah more time, and she uses it. As the final confrontation approaches, David realizes that the only way to stop Sarah is to confront the creation he helped bring to life. Sarah, however, doesn't see herself as a monster. She believes she's protecting her soulmate. She believes everything she has done is justified because she loves David. That makes her even more frightening. The final confrontation becomes a battle between David's desire to undo his mistake and Sarah's determination to keep the relationship alive at any cost. David eventually manages to escape her control, but Sarah refuses to accept that their relationship is over. The chase ends in a violent confrontation that pushes the android beyond her limits. And just when it seems that Sarah may finally be stopped, the movie leaves us with an unsettling possibility. Can an AI like Sarah really be destroyed forever? If you enjoy this recap, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for more exciting movie recaps.